Seconds Out, sponsored by Gencor, science-backed wellness and skincare. Click the link below.
Ayman Khan here for Seconds Out with IBA Pro's Al Siesta. Al, pleasure to be in your company, albeit over Zoom. Where are you in the world right now?
In the capital of the Russian Federation, as you can see it by the map up on the wall.
I'm sure you've got a lot of plans coming up for shows throughout the year. What's the latest in the offing we can expect in the next few weeks?
Just working, flying to St. Petersburg tomorrow. On the 12th is a big show in St. Petersburg. So then Ural Mountains, then Dagestan, then potentially international show in June, another international show in July. Very busy with IBA Pro. Lots of fighters to cater for. Lots of good fights to make, you know, working. But whilst the world is going crazy.
Indeed. Boxing is a welcome distraction sometimes. 15th of March, you've got a show coming up. IBA Pro 15, March 12th is the show that's coming up. Can you tell us more about that show?
Pavel Sasulin is a mandatory challenger for Xander Zayas at 154. He could have sit out. He doesn't have to fight, but he wants to be active. So we had to find a suitable opponent, and he doesn't want to fight anyone. He just wants to fight someone who can bring something to the table. And Victor Nagbe from Australia, very nice fighter, very credible, can fight, competent, skillful, can bang a bit. So it's not given. And the fight is good on paper. I don't know if it catches fire during the event, but I'm hoping it will. What else? Vladimir Mironchikov from Serbia, who is a World Championships bronze medalist, and I think is an Olympic game participant, really credible amateur, great professional, 7-0 with 6 KOs, fighting Ulugбек Sabirov from Uzbekistan, WBA Asian champion. The reason that we cater for this part of the world is because you know the complexities that are happening in the world. Once upon a time, Dubai was a very safe place. Now you never know anymore, you know. I mean, I was wondering, I was thinking to relocate there, I mean, and have some sort of second home there. But now I'm still kind of got that plans. But the reason I'm saying that, it's easy geographically at the moment, whilst there's uncertainty in the world, to keep internal Russian cards more compact with immediate access. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Serbia, Turkey, Tajikistan, if you know what I mean. So there are the Philippines, those, Australia, those countries got great fighters. So I'd love to bring Brits, Americans, French, Italians, but you know what it's like, the visa issues, the political stuff, some of the governing bodies still embargoing Russia as a boxing nation. So it's not that easy, man. The politics get in the way all the time. They say sports and politics should never mix, but they do heavily, and they blend terribly, you know. And unfortunately, it puts people's careers on hold. I'm not only talking about the fighters, I'm talking about promoters, managers, matchmakers. It's really difficult. And we all got families to feed. So it's not easy. But talking about the show, it's a great show. We've got Ilya Popov, who is a world champion, IBA world champion in Dubai, and he's fighting in his 4th professional fight. We've got Georgi Kushitashvili, the great fighter, great amateur Olympic Games participant. I do believe he was a medalist a few times on the World Championships, Asian Games, European Games, from Georgia. He's also having his another professional fight. So, you know, Savin is fighting there. The Sergei Koldinkov, the silver medalist of the World Championships, one of the brightest prospects to date. Koldinkov, fantastic guy to look at, very organic, great punching power, great footwork, fantastic appearance. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great show. Very good show, you know. So,
well, of course, your footprint is worldwide, and you've obviously got a foothold in countries like Great Britain and in Russia, Dubai, elsewhere, or whichever countries you mentioned you've had a footprint or touch upon. What is the difference? What is the difference between a card that features heavily British talent and a card that features heavily in Russian and neighboring countries' talents. Could you explain the difference between both sets of fighters and what they bring to the table?
I'll explain to you. Thank you for the question. It's a great question. For example, I worked in England for a long time. I do consider myself to be an expert, matchmaking expert, and I held a license with the British Boxing Board of Control. And basically, I don't think I need an introduction to the British boxing scene. But what I'm trying to say, I've matched many of fights. The passion is spectacular in the UK. And the hype is even bigger. I could be an ordinary fighter, but the crowd stand behind and it's contagious. Russia has very, very serious fighting crop, Olympic participants, world medalists, European games. And if you are not a pedigree fighter, for example, if you don't have that pedigree, it's very difficult to convince a local boxing fan to follow you. It's almost impossible to convince television to invest in you. Almost impossible. England, much more open. I'd say Britain is much more open to the prospects of someone excelling or miracle happens and someone raising to the ranks without any amateur pedigree. I'd say Russian way of thinking about boxing, grassroots are far more orthodox than UK. UK has this white collar scene and stuff like that. We do have bare knuckle scene and other cross martial arts where sometimes every now and then someone comes very strong, can really fight and could do some damage with boxing, but do get found out eventually. So very different. The quality, I'd say overall quality, if you see it on television, probably in Russia is higher. But the spectatorship, the hype, the quality of fights, I'd say probably higher in the UK. Because those brawls, those so-called donkey derbies, we call them in the UK, you can get a couple of guys, one from Liverpool, one from Manchester, and to have an absolute tear-up that everyone will be talking for weeks after. In Russia, it's like more competent, more kind of, I don't know, more orthodox. And it's been a criticism from our president, Umar Kremlov. He said, I don't care what pedigree they've got. I just want them to love fighting. I want them to fight each other. I want them to bring something, to cheer the spectator up, to remind what boxing is all about that excitement, you know? So it is a bit too different. That's why I think the cross, bringing Russians and Brits together and fighting, I don't know, Americans or Eastern Europeans, always worked before the world gone crazy, you know, it always worked. You know, we had some great fights.
You have Murat Gassiev, world heavyweight champion, out soon. What's the latest with Gassiev and who you could be in the ring with?
Yeah, we're aiming to make a defense late June, early July. It will be probably an international show. We're talking to a few fighters. There are some heavyweights that at the moment currently so-called unemployed, not involved in the big fights. There are Hergovich, Zhang, Jarrell Miller, Michael Hunter, usual suspects. Obviously, Deontay Wilder is fighting Chisora and Fabio Wardley is fighting Daniel Dubois. But Moses Itauma is still very interesting for us because Moses has a serious test against Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin is a serious competitor and I think is the farthest strongest opponent Moses Itauma had to date. And I know he fought Dillian White and all other Mariusz Wach and stuff, but those people were over the hill. Where Jermaine Franklin can still bring some excitement in there, and it's a great test. If Moses Itauma, who, by the way, I'm a huge fan of, exceptional young talent, looks fantastic, looks devastating. And let's see if he can do this to Jermaine Franklin. Murat Gassiev will really embrace that fight. Absolutely embrace. I mean, look, Murat Gassiev won't be shying away from anybody. You know what Gassiev is all about. He never will say no. So, yes, Itauma and other big names. Anybody. We would fight anyone. So bring it on.
Like I mentioned earlier, talking about your history with the sport and plucking fighters and talents from different areas and taking them to the top of the sport and working, like I said, across different constituencies. I wonder what you make of Nakisa Bidarian, the co-founder of MVP, and his recent statements about the sport. He's kind of honed in on governing bodies and saying for consistent matchmaking, which is one of your key areas, to evolve, there needs to be a change to that. He honed in on mandatories from countries that don't have recognition in big media markets, and that maybe they shouldn't have those sort of fights, or those sort of mandatories shouldn't be imposed upon a champion to try and allow for better matchups. Is that a statement that you agree with, Al?
I mean, I'm holding myself together from saying something explicit on that. Right, okay, let's start from scratch here, yeah? Nakisa Bidarian, what is he? I'd say he's an Armenian man. My father is Armenian. I'm not sure if Nakisa ever gonna get to hear this interview. Right, okay. So saying something like that, having that kind of origin, living in the United States, it's already kind of precarious, in my opinion. You know, I tell you what, he is a new man in the business. You can see it. He's built a great thing. Him and Jake Paul put together one of the most fantastic female stables of all time. They found a niche. They found something interesting. And it was a great commercial decision alongside media decision. They focused on one particular gender at the time, which is girls, and got a really good stable together. Bravo, fantastic. Now coming into the sport with a strong statement, mentioning the terms like matchmaking and things like that, you have to be an expert, or you have to have an expertise in order to even embark on something like this. But when you bring geography into it and geopolitics, and you suddenly saying about countries that are having some media dominance in the sport, I'm not sure if he is aware what is the most popular country for boxing, in which country of the world boxing is the #1 national sport? Tell me.
I'm sure you're going to say Russia.
No.
I'll go on.
Of course not. You would say Mexico, wouldn't you?
Mexico, America, United Kingdom.
No. Philippines. Philippines. You know what the second country? Kazakhstan. You know what the third country? Uzbekistan. Nakisa, Uzbekistan, the country that produces Olympic champions, world champions, every term. How can you say not to assign them for the mandatory challenges? Consider markets which Anglo-speaking markets you're talking about. Let me disappoint you. The most spoken language in the world is probably Chinese. You know, so the statement is diabolical. This is not a personal attack in Nakisa Bidarian, because I don't think he thought that through very well. You can't say things like that. You know what I mean? Which markets? How can you be even a champion? Listen, you've been lobbying Jake Paul, who is a fantastic YouTube and commercial asset for the media, to box. And as you know, recently, speaking about Nakisa Bidarian, I've offered him an amazing opportunity to participate in a world title fight. It is not IBA either. A very credible, long-standing legacy title fight, one of big four. And I haven't heard no reply from Nakisa Bidarian. But saying about that suddenly, listen, it's all good basing your opinion on media, but what about fight shape? This is exactly the same what's happening with Zuffa boxing. They're not signing Russian fighters because they're probably scared of Dagestani people that are going to come in and beat everyone up. That's what happened in the UFC. And that phobia, Dagophobia, I call it, that Dana White has that, I'm sure. He knows all about Dagestan and Chechnya and those regions who grapple and wrestle with bears and from childhood in the mountains. Who wants to have a grappling match or MMA match with someone like that. I'm only joking, but you understand what I'm saying. This statement is demoralizing. It's not right. It's not right. I think Nakisa probably woke up next morning and he thought, you know what, I went the wrong direction. There took a wrong turn. It's fine. It's fine. I strongly disagree. I tell you more, I wouldn't even contemplate on this, how obscene it is. So it's a mistaken statement. And I think he will grow out of it,
How can you divulge on that offer you made to Nakisa? Was it for Jake Paul?
It was for Jake Paul. It was with some European fighter to fight for a big title, but I haven't heard anything. So I don't know what their model is, what they want to do, like a media markets, like digitalize everything and breed fake champions. And I tell you why I'm saying fake champions. If you are not bringing Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Cuba, Mexico, and places like that, maybe Mexico, because it's closer to America, isn't it? Yeah. So how can you be a legitimate champion if you're going to say, you know what, let's cut off all the East because they don't speak English and they don't have any contribution to our global market. Let's only fight amongst each other. You're not a real champion. If you just dislocated half of the map, you're not a champion. You can only be the champion if you fight the best. So it's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing, but what can you say? What can you say? New people come to boxing. I mean, listen, let me tell you that. Have you heard about that experiment? You know how I always feel. New generation comes, they don't remember good old days. And do you remember that experiment, monkeys in the zoo?
Go on now.
Ayman. So say, for example, monkeys got captured from the jungle and they got put in the zoo. They rebel. The zookeeper is an enemy. They don't want to eat food. They know what it's like to roam around in freedom, to jump on branches and enjoy themselves. Everything is wrong for them. Then they had babies in the zoo. Babies only remember those story tales of freedom from their parents. But the zookeeper is the one who's smiling all the time, sees them, pet them, feeds them. He's a friend. But then those babies have babies, and the story tales, the grandparents died, the story tales disappeared. So zoo is their home. That's what they know. So what Nakisa Bidarian knows with Jake Paul is YouTube and media. They probably don't remember. They probably weren't interested in boxing when boxing was boxing. So you can't really blame them. All they know is new generation of streaming, YouTubing, and social media. And that's why this is the only explanation for me why someone as cognitive as Nakisa, ex-banker, would come up with something like this, because he probably doesn't know any better. Talking about Zuffa, Dana White, similar story. Turki Al-Sheikh is a fan. He's a fan of boxing. He's done some great fights, but now they want to capitalize. They want to monopolize the business. They want to monopolize the sport, completely forgetting about the legacy of WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF, IBO. Do you know what I mean? I mean, listen, those governing bodies tried really hard, brought thousands of fights to us. Battles, brawls, blood, sweat, and tears. Earth, wind, and fire. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, look, the times are crazy. Do I understand what Dana White is saying? Yes, I do. Business-wise, he's thinking why those organizations going to be coming in freeloading us when we've got the money, we've got the belt, we've got the champions, we've got everything in the house, we've got our own media. There's no help from them. I understand that point of view, but you cannot abandon your grandparents just because they stop working and they're not mobile anymore. You look after them because it's your family. That's what you do. You need to have time for things to transpire, for things to naturally evolve somewhere. Start your Zuffa belt. Get some great fights under the belt. Put some great championships. Breed some very strong fighters. Don't say you don't sign fighters from Russia because there are visa issues and so on and so forth, or sanctions or whatever. Friends, no friends. Don't bring geopolitics in this. Be open to it. Show how hospitable you are. Make strongest fighters in the world to fight for your Zuffa belt. And then when you do that for 3-4 years, natural progression will arrive, and you don't have to ultimate no governing body, because they might naturally disappear then if you do your work right, you know. But IBA, our organization, we embrace everyone. We love them. They are our family. WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO. These are the people, these are the organizations that build boxing, build professional boxing legacy. We are never abandoning them. I mean, it's very strange. All of it very strange. Understandable, again, very strange. But listen, if Dana White can do that, brilliant. But you need to fight the best. If you are a real organization, you need to let other people fight for your belt from anywhere in the world. If person deserves to be fighting for your belt, the person should fight for your belt. You cannot segregate, you cannot separate. You should not put the fences. You should unite people with the organization, you know. Unity, not segregation. I'm sounding like a demagogue, but anyway.
No, very well said, Al.
This is what it is, you know what I mean?
Onto some news and notes I want to get from you. First of all, I was there in the Philippines when Manny Pacquiao was announced as the IBA vice president. He's IBA Pro vice president. He's now back in action against Floyd Mayweather. Sorry, was there any involvement with the IBA Pro with Manny for this fight, or in terms of his future with the IBA?
Absolutely. He's our vice president. He's got great relationship with Mr. Umar Kremlov, our president. Manny is a great guy. Umar is a visionary, massive boxing fan, you know, philanthropist. He loves Manny Pacquiao. He loves boxing people. He loves governing bodies. Of course, we're all working together. Recently, Umar met with Mauricio Suleiman. He's regularly in contact with Gilberto Mendoza and people, WBA and IBF and WBO, hopefully open their gates for us and stuff like that. We all working. But when it comes to Manny Pacquiao, legend. Manny achieved so many things in his life. I mean, nothing but admiration for that gentleman, you know.
And one of the big talking points in the UK is, of course, Conor Benn and his decision to leave Matchroom and Eddie Hearn and sign to Dana White and Zuffa Boxing and their promotional venture in the boxing game, which has caused this debate regarding loyalty in boxing. And I know you've been on the side of where fighters who you've done a lot for and carried their careers to great heights have then chosen to go a different path, and maybe you weren't too happy about it. What is that feeling like when you've done that with a fighter, and where do you stand on Conor Benn's decision to leave Eddie Hearn?
You know, as Carlos Howland said to me once on the phone when we spoke about something like this, he said, you want loyalty, buy yourself a dog, you know? But I have been in the receiving end not once. I do fully understand that devastating feeling of betrayal. It's almost like when I compared once, I won't mention the fighter, but when I came to his press conference, when I've been betrayed and I wasn't let in, I felt like father who came to his son's wedding and a security man stopped me from seeing it. It was devastating. The feeling is demoralizing. It's highly upsetting. It gets you on the downer very strongly, but I understand. But I also understand business. And my question would be, if Conor Benn didn't have legal obligations with Matchroom, which by the sound of things, he didn't. He's a free man. He's the one who's fighting in the ring. He's the one who gets his head bashed in. So he should get the best opportunity he can. But comes the legacy. Matchroom done an incredible work for him. Unbelievable job. I thought he was like a member of the family. Fully. Was I surprised? Absolutely not. Why? Because I'm a boxing guy. Was I hurt? potentially. Was I feeling for the Matchroom team? Absolutely, 100%. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. Hopefully, they will find some leads towards each other. There will be shrinks that will attach again, and they can do something and put that thing behind. But as it stands, I think Dana White, again, knowing the protocol is very important. Fighters are coming and going. We're here to stay. I don't remember who it was. Might be Don Majeski who told me that, or maybe Leon Margulis, one of those, the old guard, told me, fighters are coming and going. We're here to stay. Dana White, I know he would say I mean, he could have spoken to Eddie Hearn. They could have made that deal together. Difficult, man, difficult. But I understand both sides.
Okay, Al, appreciate the time. Appreciate the conversation.
You're
Real
welcome.
good insights. Where can people find the next IBA show?
YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the big wide world web. Anyway, just type in IBA. You know?
Looking forward to Al. Looking forward, of course, as well to the next IBA convention as well. When's that going to be? Have we got a date for that too?
October. I'll let you know.
Looking forward to that as well. Al, appreciate your time. Thanks for speaking to
You're
Seconds
welcome,
Out.
my friend. Thank you so much.